Hey, I'm Jimmy. I had always thought of myself as a practical guy. No nonsense, no superstition, just a man trying to make ends meet. That's why, when I took the night shift as a janitor at Clearwater Corporate Tower, I figured it was easy money. Empty offices, no one to bother me, and the solitude of the building's endless corridors. I could handle that, but Clearwater Tower had a way of testing even the toughest minds. It was the 10th of December, 2023. I arrived at 11 p.m. sharp, my usual start time. The building felt colder than usual that night, the air thick and stale, as though it hadn't been touched in years. It was odd, but nothing that set off alarm bells. At least, not yet. I grabbed my cart and headed for the elevator. The ride to the 15th floor was slow, the kind of slow that made you think twice about stepping into an empty building in the middle of the night. The flickering panel overhead buzzed faintly, and I rubbed my hands together, trying to ignore the chill creeping up my arms. When the doors opened, the silence hit me like a wall. Not the peaceful kind, but the suffocating kind. The kind that made the building feel alive, as though it was holding its breath. I started with my usual rounds, vacuuming the hallways, wiping down desks, and emptying trash bins. Everything seemed normal until I reached the corner cubicles. That's when I heard it. Whispers, faint but unmistakable. At first I thought it was the HVAC system acting up, but the more I listened, the more certain I became. These weren't mechanical noises. They were voices, low, murmuring, overlapping as though a group of people were having a hushed conversation just a few steps away. I pulled off my headphones, turning toward the sound. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing through the empty floor. The whispers stopped. My pulse quickened. I scanned the room, my flashlight cutting through the dim corners. But everything was as it should be. Chairs neatly tucked under desks, computers shut down, papers undisturbed. Shaking my head, I muttered, "Get a grip," and went back to work. An hour later, I was cleaning the restrooms, the part of the job I hated most. The air always felt colder in there, and the motion-activated lights had a habit of flickering. Tonight was no different. As I scrubbed the sinks, the lights suddenly went out, plunging the room into total darkness. I waved my hand in front of the sensor. Nothing. I reached into my pocket for my flashlight, and when I switched it on, the beam landed on the mirror. I froze. There was a figure standing behind me. It wasn't clear, more like a shadow, taller than any man I had ever seen. Its head nearly brushed the ceiling, its shape barely human. Every muscle in my body screamed at me to move, but I was paralyzed. Staring at the figure in the glass, slowly, I turned, flashlight trembling in my hand. The room was empty. When I looked back at the mirror, the figure was gone, but in its place was a message, scrawled in dripping, black streaks. "Leave." I didn't need to be told twice. I stumbled out of the restroom, my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't even bother cleaning up the tools I'd dropped. Trying to shake off the fear, I decided to head to the basement. It was my last stop for the night, and I wanted to get it over with. The basement was always the creepiest part of the building. Low ceilings, buzzing fluorescent lights, and the kind of cold that settled deep in your bones. I emptied the trash compactor quickly, eager to finish. But as I turned to leave, a sound stopped me in my tracks. Footsteps. Wet, heavy footsteps, like someone walking through a puddle. I spun around, my flashlight darting across the floor, and my stomach dropped. A trail of wet footprints stretched across the concrete, leading to a door I'd never noticed before. It was old, wooden, and out of place in the otherwise modern basement. My first instinct was to leave, but something, curiosity, or maybe something darker, drew me to the door. The handle was ice cold as I pushed it open, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling downward. The air that hit me was damp and smelled faintly of rot. Against my better judgment, I descended. The staircase ended in a small windowless room. A single bulb swayed overhead, casting long, shifting shadows. In the center of the room was a wooden chair, and on it sat a man. At least, I thought it was a man. His skin was gray and stretched tight over his bones. His eyes were sunken, hollow, and lifeless. He didn't move, didn't speak. But then, as I took a step back, the man's head snapped up. "You shouldn't be here," the figure rasped. His voice was dry and cracked, like dead leaves underfoot. I stumbled back, nearly tripping over my own feet. I turned to flee, but the staircase was gone. In its place was a solid concrete wall. My breathing turned ragged as I slammed my fists against the wall, shouting for help. The figure in the chair began to laugh, a low, guttural sound that echoed off the walls. Shadows crawled along the floor and up the walls, inching closer to me with every passing second. Just as the darkness swallowed me, I felt myself falling. I hit the cold basement floor with a thud, gasping for air. I scrambled to my feet, my eyes darting around the room. The strange door was gone, replaced by the blank wall I had always known. My phone buzzed in my pocket, jolting me. It was a text from my supervisor. Cameras went offline for 15 minutes. "Everything okay down there?" I didn't respond. I grabbed my jacket and sprinted out of the building, leaving my cart and tools behind. I never went back to Clearwater Corporate Tower. To this day, I refuse to talk about what happened that night. But every so often, when I'm alone, I hear them, the whispers, and I wonder if I really left the building, or if part of me stayed behind.